And welcome to this edition of At the Mic. I am your host, Keith Malinak. It's a Friday afternoon. We hang out here, we watch animal videos together, and we just try to have generally speaking, a relaxed afternoon. So thank you for making time today. I can't wait to introduce you to my two guests, who, as far as I'm concerned, are American heroes, and I mean that sincerely. So stand by for that. Before I introduce you to them, let me remind you that yesterday on the deep dive episode for the week, we talked about 9/11, and there's some mind-blowing stuff in there and a lot of unanswered questions. Actually, I have more unanswered questions than before the conversation began with the foundering. He's awesome, man. We spent 2.5 hours talking about that, and take a look at it. It's available. Check out the deep dive playlist at youtube.com/at the mic. It's also a part of my X feed over there at Keith Malinak. So obviously you're watching it either location, and wherever you're watching, be sure to follow, like, share, do all that stuff to tell other folks about what we do over here. Thursday deep dive, Friday live stream fun. I will be off the next 2 weeks. So when we come back, though, I keep forgetting. Sorry. Oh, the Barfly. Not Barfly, the Barfly episode with Brad Staggs. That's going to be on the Thursday deep dive. And then on Friday, September 6th. Oh, I'm bringing him back-to-back days. That's right, Brad Staggs and our buddy Ed Bishop. That will be the Friday live stream on September 6th. Now, I will tell you that on Thursday, September 12th, and I don't know if he remembers or not, but Real Steve Friend, that's who you need to follow over there on Twitter. Steve Friend will be my guest as we go through the history of the FBI. You need to go back and watch that episode where we talked about what's wrong with the FBI. And so we've got some more FBI stuff to discover. And now check this out. Look at this. Another awesome guy. We got Garrett O'Boyle. Now, these two gentlemen, first of all, thank you guys for making time here today. I appreciate it very much. These guys, FBI whistleblowers, it's been over a year now. And it was one of the most riveting days of congressional testimony as far as I'm concerned. And yes, I'm a nerd and I've watched a lot of C-SPAN for the last 48 years of my life. But anyway, these guys do their own show, the AMRAD Pod, American Radicals. Go to Rumble. You guys have a lot of assignments, by the way, audience. I need you to subscribe, follow, do all the stuff for this show, but also go to their Rumble channel, American Radicals. Subscribe to that. Set the reminder, so the alert, so that you know when they're doing stuff over there. And I think, Steve, you've got another thing you're doing every morning, right? Tell us about the podcast that you guys do together, and then the other stuff that you're doing.
Well, the American Radicals podcast is on Rumble Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, but we also do the audio format. So if folks like to listen on iTunes and Spotify and iHeart, it's available there. Mm-hmm. And that comes to you Tuesday and Thursday live at 8:30 Eastern AM and at noontime Eastern on Saturday. Saturday's our big day because we get to go a little bit longer. And then the ventures that I'm going on with as I continue to play content creator fantasy camp is I have a new program that's now going live on X, formerly Twitter, every morning 8 Eastern, called The Morning Post. And I do that with Jason Nelson. And he is a Marine, former Army entrepreneur. And he and I both actually have television shows on Patriot.tv. So like I said, I seem to spend a lot of time talking into a little circle of a lens, and hopefully folks get something out of it. If not, then I'm going to really have to figure out what I do when I grow up. But I do the American Radicals podcast with Garrett, and that's a good time. We're over 100 episodes now, so we're pretty happy with the product.
That's awesome, man. And if you'll see on Garrett's name there, he's got a web address and got some merch available there. In fact, I think you're both sporting it right now. Something from products from the-suspendables.com. That's awesome. So go and buy their stuff. All righty. And let's see here. where do we want to start, guys? You know what? Why don't we just? I've kind of gotten in the habit of doing the not so rapid fire stuff early on. I think it's a good way to kind of break the ice here with the audience, and I think that's what we will do here. So, who wants to go first? Steve, you wanna be first up on the old not so rapid fire?
Send it.
Okay, here we go. All right, let me just. Okay. So I knew I was getting FBI guys in here, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start them off with this question here. What is your favorite cop themed show ever?
There's a lot out there, and I am not the type that said, well, I was in law enforcement, I don't need to take my job home. I love cop shows and movies. And Garrett and I were both uniformed police as well. I have two minds. One, the GOAT for law enforcement is The Wire. And if you disagree, you're wrong. With the exception of the last season. The last season is kind of hot garbage. But I also give an honorable mention to NYPD Blue because they have the most authentic interrogation scenes where they actually follow what you would do in a real police interrogation, minus Andy Sipowicz beating you with a telephone book. But the actual dialogue and the way that they set up the parameters and they set the suspect up to confess is authentically law enforcement.
That's awesome. So wait a minute. Before Garrett answers the question, I could see a scenario like in a police interrogation where I think Garrett would be the good cop, and I think Steve would be the bad cop.
I'd be the Lego man bad cop.
I could see you be like, I see Garrett be like, man, look, we're trying to cut you a deal here, and you'd be like, so help me, we'll put your ass away. You know, I don't know, but I don't know. So did you guys like cop shows when you were kids? Like, in other words, did you get that love of law enforcement early on, like through mass media, or how did you guys even get into law enforcement? I'm sorry, I'm totally derailed. This is why it's not so rapid fire here.
That's a good question. For me, actually, it wasn't cop shows or movies, although I suppose I've always had somewhat of an affiliation for them. I sometimes jokingly say that it was the X-Files that put me on track for the FBI, and there's a lot of truth there. When I was a little kid, my brothers and my dad and I would watch the X-Files on, I think it was Sunday nights, because my mom, she was working third shift at the hospital as a nurse, and that was like kind of the thing we did. And I've always been like a sci-fi geek, and X-Files did leave an impact. But as far as getting into law enforcement in general, I think the pivotal point for me was 9/11. That's kind of what put me on the path to join the military and then law enforcement as well after that. But it was my senior year of high school, and my school resource officer, he was helping teach in our physics class. And I always had like the whole 5 minutes in between classes because my previous class was right next door. So I'd always just button hook and go to my physics class and just wait. And he was in there, and I thought he was like waiting for a student or something, but he was actually just there to help teach that day because he also was like a crash scene investigator. So just getting into the physics of that. And so before class started, him and I were just chatting, and he was like, hey, why don't you come by my office in the next couple days, and we'll talk about law enforcement a little bit more. And I had never really thought about it before then. And so I did. And he set me up on a ride along at the local police department. And it was a Friday night, second shift. And it was awesome. I was like, this is great. And we did a couple traffic stops, got a DUI. There was a DOA, which is dead on arrival. That was interesting as a 18-year-old senior in high school. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like a totally different, side of the community that I live in. And really ever since then, that's kind of the track I was put on. But I took a little hiatus and went into the infantry in the Army for 6 years. But eventually, once I got done with that, I circled back and became a cop and FBI agent. And now here I am, suspended indefinitely forever at about 23 months.
Well, God bless you, both of you, truly. So, Steve, what was your law enforcement journey?
Well, I come from a very white collar family. So my dad's a CPA, My older sister is an attorney. My younger sister is a pharmacist, and my younger brother is an architect. And I was supposed to be, it was really friend and friend CPAs. I was going to be an accountant. And in high school,
no.
I was in ROTC, but couldn't get into the military. I wanted to. I'm asthmatic and couldn't pass the physical test. So thought, all right, I'm just going to go be an accountant now. And then I did one tax season and thought I need to do something different. It's not a good fit for me. And then law enforcement sort of seemed like a natural other way to sort of deploy to your local community. And I happened to be on a train from New Jersey to New York City and saw two NY transit cops. I thought they were NYPD. I didn't realize that their own department. And I just remember thinking, I'm about to go do tax stuff all day, and that sounds miserable. Those guys are probably going to have a way better day than me.
Are you still thinking about that about New York City cops?
And to get, I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and that was my hometown department. So they had a really good gig. They were short on officers, so they paid me a salary and actually paid me while I was in an academy. And then went into patrol, did some work in narcotics. And then I met my wife the day I graduated from the police academy. And she speaks multiple languages, and she was actually looking into going to the FBI. And she decided not to do that, but said, hey, you should look at doing that. And I applied, and it only took 4 years to get hired, but they brought me on after 12 trips between Savannah and Atlanta. Which is 500 miles round trip. So drove 6,000 miles in order to make it happen. 4 years, hired in 2014, was with the Bureau. It would have been 10 years this year if they hadn't broken up with me via.
Let go for telling the truth.
It's not us, it's you.
Yeah. Boy. Well, I hope that, we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? Going forward.
We won't hold our breath.
Deputy Director O'Boyle, he's going to need an assistant. I just want to be the henchman. If he can give me that assignment, then I'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. So Garrett, what was your favorite cop theme show?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a little bit because there's so many, and like Steve, I'm kind of a sucker for cop shows, and whether it's procedural dramas or whatever else, like I really like them a lot. My wife and I, we don't watch them quite as much anymore, but we used to all the time. And I think if I could only pick one, this is probably going to be a little bit of a shock, but I'm going a little more lighthearted. I would pick the modern rendition of Hawaii Five-0. I love that show. I don't know what it is about it. I know it's cheesy sometimes and bad acting often, but I really liked it, and that would probably be the one. But there's so many out there. Like as I was thinking about this, I'm like, man, old ones like Southland. I didn't pick Cops because it's like real life, but I suppose that would also be high on the list. But there's a lot of good ones out there. But yeah, if I could only pick one, I think it'd be Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah, I was on one of those Cops shows. It wasn't Cops, but it was similar, and it's the same film crew, and they hated Southland with the firing passion of 1,000 suns, because they said Southland would just watch Cops and then incorporate whatever zany hijinks happened on Cops into the next week's episode.
Smart. That's easy. Easy work if you can get it.
Easy work if you can get it. It's like, hey, this week you watch Cops and give us ideas.
Take notes.
I've been told by multiple people that I'm just looking it up right here. I'm sure I can find it later on some streaming service, but I have been told that I would enjoy, because I enjoyed Magnum PI, that I would enjoy the modern version of that. And I actually liked Hawaii Five-0. It was on reruns when I was a kid. I'm not that old. But that I would like the modern version of that too. So I should really check that out. I know one of the things they used to do on the old show, and I want to ask you if they do this on the new show, they would have some like moment of like realization when Jack Lord would be like standing there or something, and he would realize the light bulb would go off his head, and they do this. I call it the Hawaii Five-0 zoom. Like it was the most cheesy, way too fast Zoom. And I just wondered, do they do that on the more modern version of that show?
Yeah, they still do it. Maybe it's not as overt, but it's like you kind of see them coming to the realization, and it
I'm
zooms
watching it
in.
tonight. I'm starting it tonight just because of that answer. Okay, cool. All right, gentlemen. Garrett, what's the last song you played on repeat?
Oh man, so I doubt that many people will have ever heard of this song. It's by this guy named Akira the Don, which I don't. He popped up in my YouTube algorithm for some reason,
Uh-oh.
and he basically makes he takes people talking like Bruce Lee or Jocko Willink or David Goggins, and he splices some of what they say and then adds music and cool videos. And I've been captivated by him lately. But the last song I was playing on repeat was one of his songs called, I think it's just called "Carry the Boats," and it's David Goggins, and it's just awesome. It'll get you pumped up and hyped up. And I had it on repeat when I was working out the other day.
How old of a song is that? I feel like someone has mentioned that to me, or at least that guy.
I think it's only a few weeks old, that song.
Oh, then no. Okay.
Yeah.
But
he's
how long has he been around? Because I feel like, I used to ask this question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how old his YouTube channel is. I
Okay.
suppose I could look, but
no, that's cool.
He's been around for a few, I think only a few years. He doesn't have a huge following, but yeah, that song popped up and I clicked on it and I was like, this is sweet.
Okay. All right. I'll have to check that out. What about you, sir? Steve?
So my boys do music selection. I'm not a big music guy, and they really like Shine Down Diamond Eyes, because the music video for that is attached to the movie The Expendables. So listen, and that's a good song. I mean, that would be my walk-up music if I was a professional athlete. I dig that one.
So I don't know if vehicles still have CD players in them, but when my kids were growing up, they're 21, 18, and 16 now. But when they were growing up, I would make CDs, like mix CDs. And so you'd have a couple of kids songs, a couple of adult songs, and then back and forth. And, it was a way to subtly introduce them to good music, you see. But anyway, it would make everybody happy. So I don't know, and now it's just probably just make a playlist on Spotify. So there you go. Okay, you guys are younger than me, so now that in hindsight I look at this question, I'm like, bro, that was your generation. They're youngins. Super Mario Brothers or Zelda?
Oh, I gotta go Super Mario, and that could be any generation, man. I mean, because we had Nintendo 64, so Mario Kart was a big deal.
Was Zelda also a thing?
Zelda was a thing.
Yeah. Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
See, that shows you how disconnected I am from the video game world. Shame on me, because I would pick Mike Tyson's Punch Out with Nintendo, then Mario Brothers, and then I only played Zelda a few times. I really wasn't that much into it, but I'm glad to know that they keep making modern versions of this stuff. Then, huh? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What about
and they keep the old ones too. I mean, my boys do have a Switch, and they played the original Mario Brothers. They have it available to play.
Oh, cool.
Man, I am so disconnected. I'm sorry. Cool. Good to know. Now, see, I used to play, and this is kind of embarrassing, but you know what? I'm just keeping it real. I would come home from work as a, I don't know, 20 something, and put my oldest, Aslan, she would sit. I had this oversized, fluffy chair, and she'd be like a little baby, and she would be sitting there, and I'd put her right there, and then I would play. I'd either play Madden, or I would play NCAA football, and I haven't, and then obviously with the whole controversy with paying the athletes on stuff, NCAA went away for probably a decade now. I don't even know. And they just brought it back. It was big fanfare earlier this month, I think it was. And I have never been more tempted to go out and buy a PS, whatever the hell we're on now, 5, 10, whatever edition, just so I can get that game again. I still haven't done it, but man, it is so tempting because I used to play. Man, first of all, when I was in college, it was a Sega Genesis, and it was NHLPA. Slam people up against the glass and watch their heads bleed and all that stuff. And then also Madden and NCAA. So I don't know, guys. That's an inner conflict right now on the old PS5 5. Are we up to 5? What are we up to? Do y'all know?
I don't know. I
couldn't
want to
tell
say
you
at
the
least
PlayStation.
6, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
EA Sports, it's in the game. I mean,
it's
obviously
in the
sports.
game. Oh, greatest commercials ever. Okay, so there you go. Let's see. Did you pick one, Garrett? I forgot what.
No, I didn't, but now you got me really thinking because of these other games out there. Like I've got 2 brothers. One of them is 13 months older, the other one is my twin, but my older brother and I, we used to have some just straight up battles in NCAA football on like PS1, PS2 maybe, and we always played Madden. I think Madden 94 from our SNES is probably the game we played the most. But once we got NCAA football, it was all because of the option, the lateral button. We just had some straight up battles. But Zelda and Mario Bros, we logged a lot of hours on the Super Nintendo on those as well. I think I always liked Zelda a little bit more, but now in my older years, we've got a Nintendo Wii, which I don't think that's even available anymore. But my daughters have really been getting into Mario Kart lately, so I'll hop on sometimes and crush them. Actually, my second,
Correct.
Yeah, my second youngest daughter though, she's getting good, and I'm like, oh, I've got some competition now, which is I don't ever go easy on them because I know there will be the day in all things, sports, running, riding our bikes, Mario Kart. There will be the day where I will never win again.
yeah. I hear you.
That's what I told my wife. We have the Mario Kart, and she's like, "Let them win." I was like, "No, you don't have any idea how much I put into this. They're gonna have to take this belt."
Yes,
right.
Yes.
No,
you have to earn this.
And see, that's just it. Kids these days, okay, they grow up being coddled and handed participation trophies, and this is a world that no longer respects a meritocracy. And you know what? I want them to be better. I don't want them to expect something to be handed to them, even to the point where it's video games or something like that. But my kids wouldn't get dessert at night if they didn't score more goals on me or something. I forgot how we had it set up in the driveway with the hockey net and stuff. It's like, if I stop the majority of your shots here, the next 10 shots, then you don't get dessert. I mean, seriously, I know it's so cruel, right? But anyway,
no, it's not.
yeah. But I'm saying, you got to make your kids work.
You got to help build some resiliency in them and some drive.
That's right. And then I want to point out, this might be a good idea going forward. Toby gives me an idea. What if during the not so rapid fire, we pulled in some questions like, if y'all come up with some questions, this isn't exactly a question, but he triggered a question here. Happy National Roller Coaster Day, everyone. I tell you what, when I was a kid, I was, I wouldn't say I was scared. I was very apprehensive. I would get on the Scream machine at Six Flags in Atlanta, and that would be a big deal for me. But as I've gotten older, I love freaking roller coasters of all kinds, man. Just let's go. And so I just wonder, are you guys big roller coaster fans?
I haven't been on one in a while, but I live in southeastern Wisconsin, pretty much Milwaukee, and there's a Six Flags Great America just north of Illinois, or just north of Chicago in Illinois, that I've gone to probably like, I don't know, a dozen times in my life, and I always loved it. I loved the steeper the drops on the roller coaster, the more I wanted to go on
it. Yeah, I gotcha.
I'm definitely a roller coaster guy, not a dizzy ride guy.
Okay.
Give me the speed. Even the roller coaster, has the flips and things like that. That's fine. It's when even if you get me on like the giant swing set or like the Himalaya or anything that's going around and like repeatedly in a circle, no, I can't deal with that.
Yeah. I tell you, I think I realized I was big into roller coasters when we went to Hershey Park. I don't know, that would have been 15 years ago. I think that's when I finally, when I've been in my low 30s, finally going, wait a minute, I really like this stuff. So Toby, you're not the only late bloomer. I was in my 30s before I really enjoyed the roller coaster rides. Okay, Garrett, say any word in Espanol.
Donde está la biblioteca? That's about all I remember.
Where's the library, right?
Yeah, I used to know a little bit more. When I was a cop, my police department in roll call, we had a Spanish of the day or something like that
Oh
because
wow.
decent amount of Spanish speaking people in my area. But I brain dumped all that once I got hired by the FBI, apparently. But yes, where's the library? That's about all I remember.
Okay. All right, Steve.
Ground ball, amigo.
We. That's right. I mean, that's what the man asked for. One word in Spanish.
No, we used to say in school. We used to say "el gato en los pantalones."
Wait, there's a cat in your pants? Is that what that was? Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I put this in here. You know what? This answer was so much different for me 30 years ago. Now it's probably a negative number. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you with Whle Ball?
I'm like a 0.9 at best.
Okay. I haven't played in a while. I just know when I got in the backyard, I don't know, it was probably a couple of years ago. I remember not making a lot of contact that night. That could have been the beers, but I think I just actually have even less hand-eye coordination now than I used to. Steve, are you much of a wiffle ball player?
Similar skill level to Garrett, I would think. But it got me thinking. I saw this TV that was rolling. We as a family went bowling earlier this week, and there was a sport on TV that I did not know what it was, and it looked like a form of wiffle ball inside. They were throwing a wiffle ball. These guys were wearing these weird bucket hats and swinging a bat and hitting it off the wall. It made me think of that movie Basketball. If there was something they were trying to do, I have no idea what this sport was.
That sounds right up my alley.
And then the guys, let's say they were not fit. So I don't know how it got to TV, but that could be the next evolution. If that becomes a sport, then the wiffle ball bat might be coming back for money, for stakes.
I was always much better at Polish horseshoes or that game with the beer bottle on the poles and the frisbee. I was always much better at that than I was wiffle ball or pretty much any backyard game.
So, did you guys ever play? Because I wasn't going to play this video yet until you said, Steve, a sport you've never heard of or whatever. I'm about to play a video for you, but what this video reminds me of. Let me just play the video. This is called Roof Ball. Okay, so I want you to check this out. I mean, this is
they have scores.
Championship game. She's literally in a driveway. You talk about low production costs. Look at that. How cool is that? Look at this, man. That is awesome. Roof ball, y'all. What are we in the 10th? What is it? The quarter? I don't know. So does he have to hit the thing there or just throw it up on the roof? Or oh, it's over. I don't know how they determined it was over, but it is. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Roof ball champion, whatever his name is, 49-27 is your final score. That was awesome. So that reminded me of. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got to bring this back up, y'all, because I didn't realize how long this video was. You got to see this. Look at this. Hold on. The guy's getting interviewed after the game. Hey, come on in here to the booth.
Is it hot or cold?
Yeah, you can't tell.
Oh, look at this. It goes back to 1999, just like my fantasy football league. This is awesome. I didn't watch all this video.
Casey Campbell had a dynasty.
Yeah. Casey Campbell's been at it for a minute.
RFA? What is it? Roof ball? Oh, look at that.
It's ESPN 8. It's the Ocho. There's no way this is real.
No, it said ESPN News is what this was on.
I'm Travis Demers. Thanks for watching the 2024
It's so good. I should have watched all of this. Look at this guy. That's okay. I could see me and my friends absolutely doing that, buying a trophy, engraving it, and all that stuff. So that's almost like we used to play that. I'm just trying to think. We would throw a ball. I just don't remember it being a football. I'm trying to think of what kind of ball it was. I'm sure my dad loved hearing that inside the house. Boom, boom. I can't remember what it was, but we would just shove each other out of the way and try to catch it. And, first one to 10 catches wins or whatever. There were a lot of injuries. We were cutthroat. But, wow, now I want a shirt that says RFA, Roof Ball Football Associate, whatever the hell it stands for. That was cool. All righty. Let's see what else. How long can you hold your breath for, Garrett?
I haven't timed it in a while, but when I was in peak physical condition as an FBI SWAT agent, I would often do this with my daughters again and never let them beat me, but we'd go underwater and I was able to do it for a solid minute. But today, I don't know, 40 seconds probably.
Yeah, probably more than me, man. That's what I wanted to ask y'all. If I would assume that there's something like that with FBI training, the holding your breath stuff or whatever. No?
SWAT has like some of the teams have a water component to it,
Okay.
and it's a little bit weird because I guess they figure, if you're near a large body of water, you need to have some swim training, but they don't really factor in the fact that you might be falling into a house pool anywhere around the country. So we had to do swim tests, but it was pretty easy. Like we had to drop down to like 10 feet and pick a brick off the ground and tread water for a number of minutes. There was not a breath hold.
Yeah.
Which was probably a good thing. We had a couple of guys that were actually scared of water, which
that
would
doesn't
have
help.
forced them to submerge themselves entirely.
Oh my gosh. How long can you hold your breath for, Steve?
Probably about 60 seconds. I think I was doing a competition with my kids too recently where I said, you guys get to add yours together against mine. And I made it about 61 or 62 seconds. So not like I'm diving for clams or anything, but as long as you're relatively still, it's not that bad.
What's your favorite kind of sports car, Steve?
My dad had an RX-7, Mazda RX-7 when
sweet.
I was a kid, and that will always be the car for me. And I remember thinking that it looked like Inspector Gadget's car when it converted from the van to the sports car. And forever, I just always think that is the coolest.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, for me, I'd say a Lamborghini Gallardo. We have my older cousin to thank for that. He always had like a figurine or a model of that, or a Porsche 911. I also like a lot too. But yeah, I'd say the Lamborghini ekes it out just a little bit.
See, I'm not really a guy, I guess, because I just never got into cars. Like I'd say whichever car looks the sportiest but has the best fuel economy. Such a loser. Hey, you know what? Here's actually a good question since we got a couple FBI guys here. How would you suggest that a crippled guy be able to defend his home alone, but with a significant amount of defense? I hate to throw you guys, off the cuff here, but that's not
I would say it depends on like what type of ailment they have. Like, can they use their hands? Because then you can still use a gun. But I kind of want to say like go full like Star Wars Death Star and have like retractable fences with lasers on them and stuff like that. But that might be a little expensive.
A moat. Go dig a moat.
Dig a moat. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
You'd have to know the nature of the malady, but I think that you could set up you could professionally have some nice security lights set up, and it doesn't hurt you to have a nice big dog. If you're a handicapped person, then probably have one.
Cameras.
And then just a good old fashioned AR with a nice clean optic on it. They can do a lot of damage.
Yep.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so we're just talking about cars, fast cars. I want y'all to hear this story. It's very sad, actually. The headline is from Slate. Will the Autobahn finally get speed limits? Oh my gosh. The German government is recommending a top speed of what in the hell? A top speed of 81 miles per hour, the equivalent, 130 whatever kilometers per hour. So golly. Okay, anyway, let's see here. Speaking of sports cars, a Bugatti can go 259 miles per hour. Shut up.
Oh, that's fast.
Shut up.
How many of those does Zelensky
hold on,
have?
that was recorded. So that's what they're saying. Look, somebody has gone 259 miles per hour. The highest U.S. speed limit is 85 miles per hour. Hell, that's between Dallas and Austin. And so this person went more than 3 times that speed at 200. Okay, Can we maybe? Is it reasonable to maybe set the speed limit at maybe 150? Can we do that? But this 81 stuff, what is happening? They are taking our fun away everywhere. Let's see here. So basically, you just have to be safe on the road and move over if someone fast is coming up behind you. Gosh, I highlighted a whole bunch of this story. Just seeing here. Oh yeah, Australia's Northern Territory has no speed limits. Okay. Oh wait, no. They've since adopted them. Okay, so oh my gosh, everything's falling apart here. Let's see. 5 years ago, the country's parliament debated something that would have once felt unthinkable: a national autobahn speed limit. That proposal was voted down, but the issue continues to fuel fiery disagreements. And in fact, the autobahn began under Nazi Germany, and so when they fell and the new government took over, that's one of the few things that stuck around, that the people were like, "Don't you dare take away our no speed limit highway." But I don't know, guys. I don't really know what the question is here, other than just that seems sacrilege,
It does. I typically lean towards making people more free, so you can't impose a speed limit on the autobahn of all places.
Of all places, right?
Do you think that this could be the last effort on behalf of the German government to completely memory hold the 30s and 40s, and that way we can't say, well, at least Hitler built the autobahn,
Right.
because now it just becomes a regular interstate.
Yeah, just a freeway.
So, it's kind of interesting. I was T-boned when I was in college, and it just destroyed. It hit me right on the driver's side and just crumpled in. It was bad. And the officer that showed up on the scene, and he said, "Son, if you were hit by any other vehicle, you'd be dead right now."
Ooh.
Because the vehicle that hit me was a Beetle.
Ah.
Hitler saved my life.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Anyway, there you go. Let's see here. Okay, so speaking of roads and all that stuff, I don't know, man. This is cool. This is in Australia. I want you to see this automatic lane changing thing. I just think this is genius for alleviating traffic congestion. Look at this.
This
thing.
incredible technology has eliminated traffic in Australia. When traffic jams or accidents slow traffic flow, this intelligent traffic system manages lanes to reduce the worst congestion. By reallocating space to more congested lanes, people don't have to sit in traffic anymore.
Wow. I mean, that's AI, man. That there is good and there is bad, right? I mean, I think we're going to talk about AI more later, just constantly coming up. But it sounds like it is determining, right?
This incredible technology has eliminated traffic in Australia. When traffic jams or accidents slow traffic flow, this intelligent traffic system manages lanes to reduce the work.
Somebody is sitting somewhere watching traffic cameras. All right, change them. Oof. I don't know. You guys like that, or is that too intrusive?
I don't have a problem with it. I just think that you're overestimating its ability to stop people from rubbernecking, which is normally one of the big causes of traffic jams. I mean, how many times have you been in a traffic jam and then you realize the accident happened on the other side of the highway, on the other side of the median, and people are just looky-looing?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I see a lot of times when I'm prepping for the Friday live stream, like I'll pull a cool video, I'll have a story, and just like some of them just kind of go together. And this week it was road heavy. So I want to show you all this. Look at this. This is so cool. This is glow in the dark paint on the lane there. Okay. Now I want you to see this right here. This is what it looks like at night when the sun goes down. Now that's cool.
Whoa,
that's a safety feature, y'all. That's I don't know. I think that's Asia somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, because people like me who shouldn't be driving at night.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if that would make it worse for me or better, because when it gets pretty late, like lights kind of distort, or the brighter the light, it kind of messes with my vision. But that is very distinguishable, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so Benjamin is our resident historian. I just caught this comment there. So the Weimar Republic started it. The Nazis just expanded the Autobahn. Okay. All right. So there, you can't take it away in the name of memory holding the Nazis. Okay. That's cool. All righty. So let's see here. Do you guys have Costco memberships or Sam's Club, right? No?
I don't have one, but we have them. They exist here in my neck of the woods.
I just do not understand is why when you go in there, they check your card. Like, I always felt that should be a thing that they check at the end. Maybe I don't have a membership, but let me in to see what I'm missing out on, and then maybe you'll have a new customer at the end, as opposed to stopping me at the door and going, "Oh, you don't belong in here, sir." So they're now, instead of just checking them, they're going to scan your membership card, because I think that maybe people were borrowing other people's cards, I guess. But anyway, they're now going to be scanning that to make sure that you're you, because you have to have you might be asked to show a photo ID after they scan it. So I don't know. I mean, they're a private business; they can do what they want. But I never did understand that whole thing.
Free samples.
Yeah, even if you're going to do this. Yeah. Oh, is that why?
People will go in there and just
why
crush them on free samples.
I never thought of that, Steve. You're right. Because I'm reading that thinking, why don't you just make it awkward for me at the end of the line when I've gone through and loaded?
And they don't card you to buy the concession stand, which you can get at a relatively cheap price too. Yes. That's for members as well. So they're probably just getting crushed on people taking them to the cleaners on food and free samples and buying the 88 cents, 2-liter cola.
Mm-hmm. You got it. Yeah. That has always eluded me as an explanation. You're absolutely right. So what do you think of this? Have you seen the National Football League going to start scanning faces in all the stadiums during the games, facial recognition? Now that I don't like.
No.
But again, you could make the private business argument, I guess. But also this, if I'm sitting next to a terrorist or someone on a terror watch list, I don't need this guilt by association stuff. I don't know. As FBI fellas with history in law enforcement, what are your thoughts on the facial recognition at? Of course, they're publicly funded stadiums, most of these. So screw you. Keep your camera out of my face. What do y'all think of this? Give me that perspective from your side.
Well, considering that we're canceled FBI agents, we probably have a different take than most people in law enforcement. I don't like it at all. The reason we have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is to empower the people and make them more powerful than the government. The government is supposed to be for us. And I would say, I mean, I don't like any of this stuff. I don't like the facial rec at the airport. I don't like it at an NFL stadium. I don't like it, period. Why do you need this much data on me?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm just, and a lot of people say, well, if you have nothing to hide, well, then what's the big deal? And it's like, that's such a lame duck argument.
Sure is. And we're way too comfortable with, because it's spying on us out in the open, mm-hmm. and we're just okay with it. And I'm with you. I don't like it. Because I want to get your take as well, Steve, but I want to throw this out there, guys, because for me, as someone who appreciates the Fourth Amendment, but is also libertarian minded in that, well, it's a private business, like there is a little bit of an internal struggle here, but as a general rule, I don't like to be surveilled.
Right.
We live in a surveillance society,
mm-hmm.
but I think just in general, the embrace of modernity just because is the problem. Like, that technology with the glow in the dark lines on the road, there's a benefit to that, a public safety benefit to that. And it outweighs what the cost is, unless the pain, I don't know, causes cancer or something to that effect that I don't know about. But I don't know what the positive is to getting facial recognition software in it, other than the fact that, well, we can do it, So it's a thing that we're going to do because we're just going to pursue modernity no matter what. There's no safety that's going to be enhanced by that. It's any argument they're going to make is, well, because we have facial recognition, you're not going to be allowed access to, oh, well, see those seats up there? I don't have tickets for those seats, but nobody's sitting there. I'm just going to move on up. I mean,
Right.
is that the extent of which we're just going to prevent people from, moving to more expensive seats? Like, it seems like such a small benefit to the business. And the downside is, well, now that we've captured this information, we've invested in the technology to do that. We have to recoup that expense. So why don't we just take this data and sell it to our benefit? I mean, I don't see how the fans are benefiting from it. And I wholly uninterested in any sort of technology that captures my image and can then transmit that to someone else so they know that I went to the game on Sunday.
Yep. I agree with you. However, let me give you one more piece of information. They already did this facial recognition in the New England Patriots Stadium last year. And what you could do is you could pre-register your face, okay, and your credit card details. And you would go through the beer express lane. You just walk right through and grab a beer and you're on your way. I'm telling you, though, I joke when I say that, but you say that to so many Americans. We're like, oh, wait a minute. I can go to the express beer lane? They've got all my information on file. Just walk in and grab a beer. Hell yeah, I'll sign up. Where do I sign? Where do I smile for the camera? Oh, it's dangerous, y'all. Okay. So, again, with the surveillance state and the private business argument, here's another story that I pulled this week. This is the headline from the story. This is from MSN. My insurance company spied on my house from the sky. Then the real nightmare began. I'm sorry, this is insider.com. Okay. So this lady talks about how she knew that there was moss growing on her roof, but as the story details, very busy life, and we can all understand this. And so, so she knew that there was moss growing up there, and in fact, let it go for a while, and eventually got up there with chemicals, cleaned it, killed the moss, right? It killed the moss, and then the roof was no longer in danger. But got so busy again that didn't get a chance to go up there and wipe it off and clean it off. So it still looked like it was a suspicious situation setting up for the integrity of the roof. So in that time, if I'm understanding this correctly, a drone flies over from the insurance company, notices, oh my gosh, look at what terrible shape this roof is in with that moss down there, and then raised her rates and sent her a higher bill than she's used to getting, saying, yeah, we noticed that you had some moss on your roof. Keep in mind, she's actually taking care of it. She just hasn't wiped it off, so it still looks bad. So in other words, we're now trusting cameras to make decisions where they don't have all of the information. But the insurance company algorithm, saw this and said, oh, time to jack up those rates because that roof's going to need replacing soon enough. Boy, what do y'all think of this?
I don't like it. I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, Keith, it's a private business here doing it. I don't like that, or I like that about as much as I would like the government doing it. I don't think either should be doing it. In this instance, it seems more to me just like a money-making scam. Okay, that's what the insurance company is in it for. They just want to make more money, and we can, even though our information is incorrect because we're just getting this 2D view from our drone about what appears to be moss when in fact the moss was dead and she just didn't clean it off. Also, what do they really care? Like, I think the same argument could be made with like an HOA. How much do you really care if the lady has moss on her roof? She's going to end up having to pay for that or deal with it somehow. And I doubt it's going to rise to the level of even making an insurance claim. but this is where the slope is slippery, at least in this nation, because when you start looking at it then from like a government standpoint, now you do have a Fourth Amendment issue at hand. And there's all sorts of different legal doctrines you can get into, like plain view doctrine, or even like aerial surveillance doctrine that is a Fourth Amendment issue as well. And there's like a varying degree of some case law out there, but it's starting to change because drones are different than like a helicopter or like a plane,
Right.
which and so it's an interesting time. And I would say just like cell phones kind of changed the game. I think in a lot of ways, like the courts are way behind on that. Like your cell phone, I mean, this is everything. And there was case law when cell phones were becoming more prominent to govern, can police access your phone without a warrant or without consent? And the prevailing ruling is no, they can't. You have to get a warrant or consent to do it, because it stores so much of your information.
Yeah.
And I think with drone technology and AI technology, or drones with like scanners, which that type of stuff exists, like infrared scanning of even like the earth, that is already out there. And so it's like, how far is this going to go, and how are courts going to handle it? There's not been a ton of case law on it, but there has been some.
Yeah. Steve, any thoughts on this, man?
Sure. I think we live in the surveillance capitalism climate that we have now. I mean, even just going back to the stadium facial recognition for a second, what's to say that wouldn't be used to make sure that you had your coronavirus vaccine up to date? We'll scan your face in the stands, and if you don't, then we'll remove you because you're not complying with the guidance that we got from the government, which isn't a mandate, which isn't a law, but we're just
Right.
giving guidance, and we're going to follow that guidance because it's the government. So the deputization of the private industry is really what scares me the most. And similarly, you could use this drone to go over the house and say, hey, look, just perform your regular insurance checks, but while you're up there, could you be checking on what they have going on behind the curtilage, behind the security fence, to see what's going on in the backyard there? Oh, don't you know that we have a lockdown going on right now, and the cars aren't parked in the driveway? Where could they be going? Maybe we should contact the Ford Motor Company, and they can check to see what the GPS tracker says on that. And we're just requesting that information. We don't need a warrant for it because we want to partner with them. And these are the sorts of relationships that the government uses to circumvent the constitutional protections that we're all supposed to have. And they're all playing on the same team. And they just want to do, either they want to do their good patriotic duty and give that information over, or more likely they have relationships with these, or between the companies and the government, and they all mutually benefit from it.
Yeah. Dangerous, man. And you said that's perfect phrase, man. The deputization of private businesses. That is, yeah. You guys should do a show together. We talk about stuff like this. I think, yeah, there it is. Go to Rumble and subscribe to the American Radicals podcast. Okay. One last AI themed story here. This is wild. This is in the New York Post the other day. AI model 98% accurate in detecting diseases just by looking at your tongue. What the? Listen to this. Researchers in Iraq and Australia. First of all, I did not realize we had researchers in Iraq, but I guess we do. So there you go. They say they developed a computer algorithm that can analyze the color of a person's tongue to detect their medical condition in real time with 98% accuracy. Here's a quote from the study author. Typically, people with diabetes have a yellowish tongue. What? Cancer patients, a purple tongue. By the way, I started to read this and I checked the date. Was this in April 1st? No, it's August 13th. Okay. So cancers, I don't know. Everybody right now, grabbing a mirror, right, and checking the color of the tongue. Does this look purple to you? But cancer patients, a purple tongue with a thick, greasy coating. Acute stroke patients present with an unusually shaped red tongue. It continues. We got more. A white tongue can indicate anemia. People with severe cases of COVID-19 are likely to have a deep red tongue. Indigo or violet-colored tongue indicates vascular and gastrointestinal issues or asthma.
Huh.
Wow. So there you go. I don't know where you go to. Here's one more sentence I got to read to you. The study author says his proposed imaging system mimics the traditional Chinese medicine practice of examining the tongue for signs of disease. I've never heard of this. There are some, in theory, good things about AI and some terrifying things about AI. And it's so tough, man. What? Any thoughts on this? Are you guys checking out your tongues? Anybody want to?
I want to. I'm like, can
I know you're like,
check it
are
out
we
right
done with
here?
this show yet? Hold on. I don't know. It just looks normal to me. I have a mirror right here.
Looks like a pink tongue.
You can't see because you have eye cancer, Keith. You can't see how purple it is.
Yes.
Oh crap!
I like this use of AI. I mean, it's like, I think like most things on living on a fallen earth, on a fallen world, it eventually turns to evil. Like, look at the internet, right? It's simultaneously the greatest and the worst thing of all.
No, it's like fire, right?
Yeah. And it's no different with AI. It's going to, it already is probably most certainly being used for nefarious purposes, but there will be some altruistic people out there too who will try to use it for good. And I think this is one of those steps. 98% accuracy. I mean, man, can you imagine how AI is going to change the medical industry, most likely for the better, where you're going to be able to catch cancer in its infancy because of some type of AI induced or, scan, or I don't know, whatever else. But I think in a lot of ways it's going to be beneficial in that way. But overall, I don't know. I'm, like I mentioned earlier, being kind of nerdy and sci-fi stuff. I just think of Terminator.
Right. Well, and also this is one of so many reasons why you got to keep the government out of healthcare.
Yeah.
Because the next thing you know, the government's going to require they scan your tongue, and if they see something that's going to cost too much to keep you alive, then
yeah, and that'll be like the insurance companies too. Like your health insurance,
right?
It's going to go like the lady
Right.
with the moss. It's going to, hey, we're gonna do an AI assisted scan or whatever every time you do go to the doctor, and oh, now your warning signs for a stroke are at an all-time high. We're not going to cover you anymore.
So you've got to figure out how to get your tongue scanned without that information getting into the system. Then you proceed how you want to, I guess. I don't know. Heavy stuff, man. All right. So should we do some animal videos? It's been a while here. Let's I'm sorry, Steve. I didn't even ask you your thoughts on that, man. I apologize.
No worries. The overall trust in doctors has just collapsed, particularly in the last 4 years.
Yep.
I'm probably more inclined to believe if this data is accurate, and that's the other thing too. Who's measuring the accuracy of this data? Are they then diagnosing it? And we're relying on the experts yet again. So I mean, if it is in any way, shape, or form quasi accurate, then no problem with it. But at the same time, if it's that easy too, I better see my health insurance costs go down.
Yeah. In fact, I think Garrett just made that point. Yeah. If AI is going to be our new way of healthcare, then will that reduce or increase insurance costs? Yeah. Okay. So I thought this was kind of a cool video. So I pulled this. This is a fish. I don't know if I feel sorry for it or if it's just got everything it needs right there. It's a life in a bubble, literally. And there it is, a fish. Just, I mean, it's such a small little, I mean, you got nowhere. How wild is that, man? How wild is that?
Like a leaf? There was
yeah,
a rainbow?
on a leaf. Yeah, he's on a leaf in a water bubble. Now, as the day continues to go and the sun dries out the leaf, that fish is screwed. But as it stands now, he can enjoy his little bubble, literally.
How did he wind up in a leaf to begin with? Or
I don't know.
Some sick joke that some kid played on.
Some kid put the fish there. He's like, hey, look here. Okay, so I love this. This is a couple of gorillas, and the sense of humor is hysterical. Look at this. He's like, poke. All right, the big guy doesn't like that. He's like, who's back there? Stop. Touch my butt. I see you back there. Don't you touch my butt again. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. He goes and he gets him.
Speed, surprise, and violence of action. That is
Look at this. He's hiding in the log now, reaching for his butt. That is so great. That's so great. I just love that. Oh my gosh. Good stuff. All right. Okay. So this next video, somebody set up a cat, and cats are notorious for getting into tight places. So here's a little setup here. Look at the cat. And I don't know why they did it in centimeters. I don't care for that. But look, he's closing them off after each one of these. There we go. So okay, options are getting a little bit more and more narrow. Doing okay. Doing okay. What are we doing here? Woo! Hey. All right. Ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What? Okay. Good job, cat. All right. Can we do this? Can we do this? Come on now. Don't be a quitter. Gotta go in a little sideways. There we go. You got it. You got this. So you left the 3 circles up top. So let's see. Oh, hey, look at you. All-star. Whoa. Look at those eyes, man. They're huge. Okay, we got that one done. All right, and then we got one more to go. Wait, why are you going over the top?
Would rather go over the top.
There we go. I love it. That's awesome. He took care of all of them. Good job.
I mean, that's why you ever had the prop bet sort of conversation at the zoo where you're like, could I run from one side of the container to the other with those lions? Like, they look kind of lazy. No way, man. No way. You would never have a chance. You'd be out within the first 4 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I saw this video years ago and it came across my feed again recently. I want you to watch this. Have you ever seen the dog up on the roof? Oh, hang on. Oh, crap. Sorry. Hang on. I've not the first time I've done this. Ask anyone that's watched this live stream where I'm just sitting here enjoying it. And everybody else is like, what is he staring at? It's because I didn't activate the tab there. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So I've already watched this for you. I can tell you it's really good. Okay. So he's up on the roof taking down lights. He looks around and he sees his dog.
Now on top of the roof. Up his whole ladder by himself.
His dog Ace is up there
on top of the roof.
But how did Ace get up here? See? Hey, what's up, Ace? Ace is pretty cool. So the security footage caught Ace in action. As you can see, Ace literally climbed up the ladder. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. So how wild is that?
Ace is like a cow. He can only go up, not down.
Right. I would love to see Ace get down. Why don't you try that? But what is so cool about that video
up here taking down my lights
is that when Ace climbs up the ladder,
Ace climbs up his whole ladder.
I want you to just watch the shadow in the background.
And is now on top of the roof.
Here, it'll come up when you see the ring camera here. Okay, Ace is proud of himself, way up there. Okay, now watch the shadow. Watch the sunlight back there behind him. Because when Ace gets up here, he's so excited and proud of himself, he just takes off. Watch his shadow back there. Watch this. And wow, okay, this is cool. I like this. He goes running up this.
Wow.
And his other dog's like, man, I am not nearly as smart as Ace.
The other dog might be actually smarter than Ace. In fact, factor that in.
But Ace is the alpha for sure.
The one on the bottom there is thinking, you know what? I might get doubles at mealtime, and that's who's the apex predator now, Ace.
Yes.
Blame the long game.
Yeah. And then this is a compilation of dog videos with and delivery drivers. I bet this happens to them multiple times a day. is their encounters with dogs, and some of them maybe okay, some of them not so okay, but the reactions of some of these dogs and some of these delivery drivers is priceless. Watch this. Aw. Whoa, hey, okay, that's cute.
I'm gonna set it for your mama right here, okay?
Okay.
Oh, you're a friendly doggy? Okay, here. Smell me?
That's cute.
Ah, look at this beautiful. Oh. Hi, how you doing?
Aw.
Ah, you're so pretty and fluffy.
No!
Chihuahua chasing a guy. It's a cat, bro. Relax.
I got a package. No, get it down!
How did that dog bust through the kitten? That's cute. All right. You're so tough. Destroying that package. Anyway, good stuff. Good stuff.
I feel for those guys, man, because I mean, like, I've been a patrol officer, and you go up to the door and you hear the dog barking. At least you're armed, and theoretically, you could.
Oh,
One's coming through the door at you. You're gonna. I mean, I'd take the shot. I was just talking to my kids the other day about it. My older one, he asked me, when was the closest time you ever got to shooting at someone? And I said, well, I was describing a couple different incidents. I said, and honestly, I had my finger on the trigger, was squeezing it with a dog. The dog was coming at me. It was like one of those dodo Argentinos that it's a pretty nasty dog, gnarly. And it was well trained enough that as I was backing up, he was probably 6-8 feet running at me, and I was screaming, get your dog, get your dog. And they yelled for the dog, and it stopped and came back. Wow. I was like, he would have just ate the round if he jumped at me.
No
but a FedEx driver, I think company policy probably prohibits carrying of firearms.
I mean, that one dog literally just busted through the glass or whatever they had. I don't know if it was a temporary thing or plastic or whatever, but that was intense. Oh, Garrett missed all the animal videos.
Oh, darn.
It almost feels intentional. It almost feels intentional. We're just showing dogs attacking delivery drivers. My goodness.
Boy.
Yeah. Now, I saw a story this week. It's really cool. And I took some notes here. I didn't even print it up, y'all. I forgot where it was, but it was they uncovered. There's a city in Israel. There's a 3rd century temple that was unearthed, I guess, a while back. And then underneath that, they found a temple that Jesus performed miracles at. It's in the Bible. And in fact, he actually then he he talks about how he's disappointed in the people of this town. That's still the same town name today and everything. What was it? It starts with a C. Shoot, I don't even have the tab open anymore. Oh well. But very cool, very cool. So, a couple thousand years old, and they've discovered this, a place. It's always cool when you see something that's mentioned in the Bible by name that pops up today. Well, so 2,000 years, I mean, that's pretty impressive. However, I want y'all to see this video here. This is something else here. They have found these, there's an island there in Indonesia, and they found this cave art, and I'll just let this thing play here. And look at how old they're saying these, and I want to know if y'all believe 45,500 years old. That's a pig right there. Stuff. They found 40,000. I don't believe in this. Wait. Do handprints, human handprints. No. My goodness. It take them so long to find these? I don't know. All right, so there you go. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, I think. But I don't, oh, by the way, Kara, thank you. That's the town, Chorazin, or something like that. That's where Jesus was. I don't know. That's pretty cool. That's pretty old art. But now, if you find something really old on your property, okay, or something you think is old, maybe don't tell too many people about it, or you could end up like a farmer in Canada who just wanted to build a retirement house on his property, and then he ended up finding some old Native American artifacts, and people found out about it, and so they started digging around there, archaeologists, and they said, hey, you got these indigenous artifacts? Yep. So here's the thing. We can let you have access to your property, but we're going to have to do a full-scale dig now on this site under the Ontario Heritage Act, and you're going to have to foot the bill, and that's going to cost you $400,000. And if you don't want to fund this archaeological dig that we say is so important, but we're not willing to pay for it, but we're going to keep you from building on your own property, well, then we're going to fine and possibly jail you, sir. So you still want to build that house? I mean, come on. So the point isn't that there's a lot of points here, but holy crap, screw the government. But also, you want people to respect history, but then you punish them like this for that? Why would you ever tell anyone if you found anything of age on your property? I keep my mouth shut, and this guy is living proof as to why you should just keep your mouth shut. Oh, terrible.
Yeah. Steve and I talk about this type of stuff a lot on the American Radicals podcast. Shameless plug.
No, no, you do it. Absolutely. I made a banner for you. I need another reason to put it up there. Boom.
But one of the things we discussed quite a bit is language and words. And my favorite word, I don't know, Steve, what do you think? The last 106 episodes probably is tyranny, which is arbitrary or unrestrained exercise of power or despotic abuse of authority. That's what this is. And I think Canada is just a step or two ahead of where we are in our own nation. It's so arbitrary. It's this guy's land. And, we're the government, do what we say, or we're going to just push our thumb on your neck a little bit harder until it turns into our full hand when we're squeezing the very life out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me is like, hey, sorry, I don't really have any answers for you other than to turn to Christ and repent. But aside from that, good luck with the tyranny. Good luck with the government, whether it's in America or Canada or Australia or wherever else, because the West is falling victim like every government pretty much that has ever existed. They always go this way. And I suppose it goes back to the original sin of pride. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a suspended indefinitely forever FBI agent, right?
No, but I mean, if you're reading this in the news and you're 2 towns over, and all of a sudden, a month from now, you find these amazing artifacts that you really think the public should see, and you should share that with them. And so you want to do the right thing. Not anymore. Screw that. I'm plowing over that. I've got a field to plant. It just there is no incentive to do the right thing when you live under this kind of tyrannical rule. You're absolutely right. And I think what this does in the long run is more harm than good with a stupid law like this. And it makes him pay for the dig. That's insult to injury.
Yeah. Like, why is that on him? Like, he wasn't around when these artifacts were he found them, and now he's, hey, this is good. This is, I don't know how ancient, but ancient Canadian history, and everybody should know about it. And well, here comes the government. Not your best interest in mind. Thanks, Trudeau.
Yeah.
I have an FBI story that is actually this happening. that you will appreciate, Keith.
I love it.
All right.
So I lived and worked in Northwest Iowa, and sometimes it wasn't in our area, but we would have to go into South Dakota to go. There was a jail up there we have to do, and we would interface with Sioux Falls. I lived in Sioux City, Iowa, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. People would confuse us all the time. Sioux Falls is nice, Sioux City is not. But we knew the office up there, and they actually had to work on Indian reservations similar to us. And they were telling us a story about they had found these bones, and the authorities that had found them had sent them to the lab. The lab said these are Eastern European women, and they're in their 20s and 30s, relatively recent. So they started a murder investigation, and they found this guy who lived on a property that was nearby where these bones were found. And story was around town that he was kind of a recluse, socially awkward. He had married and had these mail order brides come from Eastern Europe. And then nobody ever saw them again.
Oh, my.
So now it starts the investigation. They go knock on the door. He says, "Oh, come on in." Then they start to talk to him. And then one of the agents leans up against the wall, which has wallpaper, farmhouse, and falls through it into a chamber that is like steel coated. And they're like, "This is the murder room, right? This is the murder room."
Oh, my goodness.
They do the full, look at it under UV. They can't find anything. I'm talking to this farmer again, and he says, "Look, I'm really bad with women. Yes, I've done the matchmaking services, and they just leave me. I've lived in this house my whole life. It was my granddad's house. You guys found the bomb shelter that he built. That he was determined. He said World War III is coming. The Soviets are going to bomb us, and he built this chamber." They're like, "No, man, we don't believe you. We don't believe you at all." He provides forwarding information to the girls, and they said, "Yeah, we got over to America. This guy was kind of weird, and we just divorced him and left and didn't leave any record." Now they're like, "We thought we had a Netflix documentary happening here, right? Like, what's going on?" And they said, "So we sent the bones to the FBI lab, and the FBI lab says they're Native American women, hundreds of years old." And we find the story out, and we go talk to
Now he's got a different problem.
senior agent in our office. We said, and this also shows in the FBI, you're forced to retire at age 57 for some reasons that are good, some reasons that are not. And this is one of the not reasons. So we tell him the story, and he goes, "I don't need to hear the rest of it. The farmers found the bones, and they can't plant if they report finding Native American bones. So they hire a hand to go out along the highway and every couple of miles throw a bone out the window." He goes, "I've seen it throughout my career." He'd been doing it for 20 plus years. And it's exactly what had happened for that exact reason, because they knew that their entire harvest, and they wouldn't even have to pay for the excavation, but their harvest would have been ruined, the cost of that, and they would never have been made whole.
Serve and protect.
But it's a pretty dope story. They found that chamber there. Man, it was all lined up for, they found this terrible serial killer. Nope, it was just a terrible lab that thought that they were Eastern Europeans, and they wound up being Native American women that were hundreds of years old. So also don't trust the science, because there can be that large of a discrepancy.
Especially carbon dating. It is not accurate. So here's another story, which, by the way, before we continue, I got to get to Benjamin. Lives in Denmark. Look at this. Now, this is my kind of law. If you find ancient artifacts on Danish soil, it's called whatever that word is, and you're considered the owner. The state will pay you for the right to dig at the site or buy stuff from you, off of you for the museums. That's how it should be done.
Yeah, maybe we all need to move to.
I don't think he wants Denmark. I don't think they want any more people.
Denmark. Fair enough, but in fairness, Denmark, those Norwegian areas, Danish, I guess, would be writ large, but they come from the Viking past, which I've long adored, and they still have this reasonable approach.
And they're sweet, and they're socialist at this point. Even a socialist country Like Denmark is like, no, you can have private ownership
right.
of bones.
Which okay. If they're socialists, what does that make us? Because or Canada, I guess, in this
Neo-socialist.
yeah. Good grief, man. You know what? I say make Vikings great again. How about that?
Make Vikings great again. So here's a story out of Turkey. Let's see here. I think. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So they were. Let's see. Okay. So all right. There was a Portuguese shipwreck. Gosh, there's so many geographical locations. I should just read it from the start here. A pot full of gold coins has been uncovered underneath a house in an ancient city in Turkey. Every now and then, an incredible archaeological discovery leaves people stunned. Whether it's an unlikely location such as the Oh, okay, now I see. See, it would be helpful for the audience and for my guests if I would read the stories before presenting them. So they found this room underneath this old home. Yeah, in Turkey. That's what I thought. Yeah. And there was a pot of gold coins in it. Again, you don't tell people about this stuff, y'all. Stop. You just keep it to yourselves. So they dated this back to 5th century before Christ, and I mean that's just pretty cool. There, I'm scanning the story. I'm like, I was gonna just say, man, why can't I find something like this? But again, I found these other stories first, or afterward, and then now I'm looking at it. I'm thinking there's got to be a story about a government seizing these, right? Is that what happened here? I'm just looking here. No, it's just a cool story. It doesn't say anything here about who ended up with the coins, but I hope the homeowner got to keep them. So I think that's cool. But then I found this other story where this guy he's suffering, he's having a tough time with money. Yeah, welcome to 2024. And so he takes back this $5 bottle of juice because it's just too expensive. They can't afford it. He tells the wife, I'm taking this back to the store. And so he did. And so I love this. I love this thought process. Look, we can't afford a $5 bottle of juice, but you know what? I think instead I'm going to take that money that we couldn't afford. I'm going to buy a couple of lottery tickets instead. Okay. Well, I mean, look, it paid off because he won $315 million.
Well, hey.
The moral of the story, kids, is
you got to be in it to win it,
my friends, and win the lottery, I guess. I don't know. I just think that's awesome. So there you go. Congratulations to but I mean, now they can buy all the juice they want. Now juice isn't too expensive with that 315 million.
They'll be broke in 10 years.
Right.
True. True.
And there's your Netflix documentary, right? So so have you guys ever heard of, and I've seen this name pop up here and there throughout history, but admittedly, I didn't know a lot about him until I read this story. I actually read this story, y'all. And it was a king in Africa and Mali, and his name was Mansa Musa. I'm sure everybody's heard about him, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, to one degree or another. So the reason I printed up this story is because he was so rich that if you took his wealth, they are estimating that it would have equaled $400 billion. $400 billion, which is almost more than twice the amount that Elon Musk is worth. Right? So $100 billion, yeah. From the country, $180 billion Musk, yeah. And $213 billion more than so $400 billion for Mansa Musa, which is $180 billion more than Musk. There we go. And $213 billion more than Bezos. My gosh. And it was basically, he was great at commerce, so much gold in the area that apparently nobody knew him outside of his region. And again, if everybody is a history expert on this story besides me, please just indulge me for a moment. but I think this is hysterical. When he went to Mecca, because he was a devout Muslim, and he went with this large contingency, of course, because I mean, if you're rich, you got to have a posse travel with you. That his boys would hand out coins there in Mecca. That it depressed, so much gold was given away that it depressed the price of gold for the next 10 years in the region. It's hysterical. So I don't know. It makes me want to look for a documentary on this cat because that's listen to this. Listen to this. It's estimated that Musa's pilgrimage led to about $1.5 billion of economic losses across the Middle East thanks to that depreciation of gold because they flooded the market so much with it. Like, hey, here, have some gold. We have plenty of it. We have so much here. But if you ever see this drawing, because I've seen this a lot, textbooks and stuff like that. But here's what he looks like right there. There's Masa Musa. What did I say that right? Hell, I don't know. But there you go. I need a documentary on this guy because that is awesome. Anyway. Any
So
thoughts?
The moral of the story is that charity is a bad thing.
Thank you. There it is. There it is.
I avow that.
Let me see here. What time are we at? Okay. I know everybody has seen this chick from the breakdancing at the Paris Games.
The best part of the Olympics.
Best part of the Olympics. So apparently before the Olympics started, the breaking community, if you will, they were informed that we're not gonna do this sport after these Olympics. So they made their debut and they pulled the plug before they even did this. But the people that head up breaking, they had hoped that it would become so popular or that the people would just love it so much that the Olympic Committee would change their mind and keep it in there for LA 2028. Yeah, no. This lady right here ruined any chance of that happening with her mockery of I almost called it the sport, gentlemen. But anyway, so good. I hope you enjoyed breaking. I hope you recorded the event because it's the only time in Olympic history that it's gonna have taken place. So it's being taken away for LA in 2028, but they're bringing back baseball and they're adding in flag football. That's going to be interesting. I cannot believe it's an Olympic sport. Congratulations. We've now taken a PE, 2 weeks of PE and turned it into an Olympic sport. I don't know. You guys going to watch, flag football? Yeah.
I won't be watching flag football. I mean, you know what? Let me rephrase that. I probably will not watch an entire game, but I will at least tune in to see what's going on there. Like,
yeah,
I would rather much watch like rugby sevens or something to that degree. Like flag football. I mean, how much better than breaking is it really going to be?
And that's what I wanted to ask you guys. If you were in charge of the Olympic Committee, are there sports that you would eliminate that you'll just roll your eyes every time you see? And we can talk summer and winter. I don't care. Are there sports that you can't believe aren't in the games? Have you ever thought about this? Given any thought to that?
Yeah, I have. Like we didn't watch a ton of the Olympics, but we watched a little bit. And my wife said maybe like probably right near the end, maybe a day or two before it ended, there's just way too many sports. And it's like, yeah, I agree. There are too many, but the ones that stand out in the summer for me are track and field and swimming, probably the most. But some of the other ones are also pretty interesting and definitely require a lot of skill. But there's just so many, and it's like, yeah, that's too many. Breaking definitely is one of them.
Well, and we talked about video games earlier. Esports is a huge thing now. College campuses and stuff like that. It's not a stretch to think within the next decade or two that's going to be an Olympic sport, and we're going to sit here and watch. That's what I can't believe is like when the kids get together in my family. It's like one or two of them are playing a game, and then the rest are just crowded around watching. And you're like, what is that? I don't understand. And I'm not talking about in the living room sitting on couches and chairs. I'm talking about like, with on their phones and stuff. And it's just like, that's, it's going to be an Olympic sport, right, guys? I'm not wrong in that, am I?
I hope not, but I mean, I don't watch the Olympics because it's too many sports, it's too much human interest stuff, and then it's super woke. But I don't even know if they still have the sport. I remember watching it and thinking it was a sport that they should put into every like Globo gym, YMCA, team handball. It looked like the most fun game you could play, and it was basically water polo, but on a floor. And the way you would move was like basketball. You had to dribble.
And the way that ball spins, man.
That it looked so fun. I mean, because it required less skill than basketball because you were throwing in a giant goalie net. And that looked like something that would be pretty cool to follow. I'm with Garrett though. Like I'd rather watch rugby sevens than flag football. That just seems like the arena football aspect where there's just gonna be a million points scored. And I'm always about things that I can objectively measure. I don't like the subjective scoring because then you always have the Russian judge that is bought and paid for.
I know.
And do you remember the girl? It was a couple winters ago where because what they'll do with I think it's the half pipe, is all these like elite stars will go and sometimes they'll score a 0 because they'll go for like a really complicated move and they'll not do it and then they'll get really no points. So she must have been independently wealthy and she just signed up for every single event and she always did the most basic thing possible. And so she wound up doing the half pipe and just didn't do any tricks, but she got to go to the Olympics.
I don't remember that she was independently wealthy and signed up. You're going to have to enlighten me on that one. I do remember somebody just doing.
She hacked it. Stuff. She went to every single competition that was a qualifying competition and did the most basic thing you could do, which is like you go on the half pipe and then you just turn from going one way and then turn going the other.
Olympics?
Yep. I think she was from Canada or she wasn't an English speaker because because of the number of events she went to, she accumulated enough points that qualified her ahead of people who were far superior to her. But, it's snowboarding. It's not really a sport.
I like snowboarding, actually.
Yeah, the X Games became Olympic events. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not just baseball that's coming back, but softball is coming back. Cricket and lacrosse.
Wrestling's got to come back.
Hey, don't got to.
Yeah. Wrestling would be good. Do they still have the volleyball, which is basically just for men to ogle women in bikinis?
They do. They had it. They had beach volleyball and like the indoor larger team one. I always like volleyball too. Ping pong was there.
So
darts should be in the Olympics then. We should
just
go for every bar sport possible. Shuffleboard.
I'm just reading this. Oklahoma City, you may not be aware, but that's going to host the softball and then some of the rowing stuff. But I love Oklahoma City.
You said Oklahoma City? I thought the Olympics were in Los Angeles.
Isn't building any new venues for the games because why would you? Yeah. And so they're having a couple of the events in Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City's damn near a suburb of LA, right? But I love Oklahoma City. I love that town. It's the perfect size for my brain. And I've explored that town. I do not know this. What's the river? Maybe it's Oklahoma River. Hell, I don't know. But I looked it up when I read this article. I looked it up on a map, and sure enough, there it was, right in the middle of the city. And it looks really cool. But I've never seen it myself, so I don't know how new it is. But
why isn't there just a permanent location for the Olympics as opposed to doing this stimulus thing that they do every single time?
That's why, Steve, the money.
Yeah, it's because every 4 years you have to bribe officials, and the IOC realizes this is a racket, and so they get all of these cities that and there's been plenty of known scandals. I can't imagine what we don't know about.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a way to make money off of this off of these bids. You know, it's like, yeah, your city may have had a really crappy presentation, but thanks for the hookers you sent up to my room. Let's see here. I want y'all to see this. Just bring stuff here. That makes me laugh. So here you go. This is I don't know the backstory on this. I don't care the backstory on this. It's just an awesome video. You're going to see two boxers. One is considerably larger than the other. And boy, I feel bad for the guy on the left, as you will soon see. Here we go. Gentlemen, fight. Oh, God. Right? Oh, yeah. It's not really doing much. He's worn out now. Oh, holy crap. Oh, I mean, he hits him so hard that even the ref knocked him. He's trying. So I've watched this enough to think, hey, maybe they're filming a movie or something, you know? No, he really took a shot right to the old noggin. Nothing fake about that. Anyway,
You think slap fighting might become an Olympic sport? Because that's kind of what.
Good call. Good call. Yes, I actually do. I think we are, as a society, becoming more and more like ancient Rome. And so the more extreme the sport and they need eyeballs, I think you're going to get that.
We should have cornhole, slap fighting.
Cornhole. Oh, my gosh. All right. See,
this is why I should be in charge of the Olympics.
Yeah, you should. You should. How do we get you in charge of?
We have to bribe somebody, Keith.
Yes, we have to bribe them.
Okay, I'm going to start looking up names and numbers right now because that's a great idea. Freaking
arm wrestling. It would be the most fun frat boy version of the Olympics possible.
You know what? You just reminded me of something. Every time I hear of someone say arm wrestling now, I remember something that happened in a luxury suite at a Nebraska football game, because Larry the Cable Guy, shout out to my Huskers, he has a suite up there at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, and a man. Oh gosh, I don't have video, thankfully, but I have this. I have this picture here. Thankfully, it's not video, but anyway, some guy challenged Larry the Cable Guy to a wrestling arm wrestling in the booth there, or in the box. Man challenges Larry the Cable Guy to arm wrestling contest. Larry the Cable Guy proceeds to audibly break the man's arm.
Ooh.
Whoops. And he's a lefty too.
Whoops. He felt so bad about this too, Larry the Cable Guy. Get her done. Well, I did. Okay. I asked you guys in the email that I send ahead of time. I said, hey, be prepared to define. Now, see, I ask a lot of things of my guests that I have no intention of playing along, because I don't know how to answer this question. How do you define art? Who wants to take that challenge first?
A visual replication of things that are real that I am unable to do myself and closely resembles reality.
Well, that's a streamlined definition from Steve.
I don't like abstract.
I don't either, man. I don't either. I used to do a radio show in college, and me and my buddy, it seemed like every other month on the campus there in Lincoln, ironically, they were putting in a new statue, and we would just have a segment called "Is it art or is it crap?" and let people call in, and we would talk about that new, and it's a communist goal for America: install meaningless art, and call it beautiful and so It's so modern and whatever the hell. How about you, Garrett? You got any definitions for art?
You know it when you see it. I'll pull from a Supreme Court decision. They were talking about pornography, but I'm talking about art. When you know it when you see it. I don't really have a definition for it, but when I see something that I don't like, I say that's not art. That's just crap. Just like you were talking about. But I will say, I guess, to expound a little bit and stray a little bit from Steve's definition, there's some of that abstract stuff that I kind of like I don't even know the proper terminology for some of what it would be, but it's, like it looks like a cat, but like they have all sorts of different colors and I don't know, designs on them, and I'm like, I still consider that type of thing art.
Okay. All right. So is this art? Because what I'm about to show you is this is I'm trying to think of it as an art display. What am I trying to say? Hell, I don't know. Just play the damn video, Keith. Here we go. He poked the hole in the bottom. Sand's coming out of that bottom one. Like this? Here's your art right there. See, the sand's running out. Now it's unstable. Please clap.
That's not art.
Poetry in motion to include the upside down bicycle in the background.
Yeah, well, okay. Is that part of the what am I trying to? What's the word that I keep missing here? It's not display. Is that part of the
exhibit?
Exhibit. Thank you for.
Wasn't there the story that somebody like left sunglasses at one of these exhibits and walked away, and then people were like all standing around taking pictures and admiring it, and then they just walked up and picked up their shady rays?
Ooh. After that, don't you dare. Yeah, what was the bicycle doing in there? Was that part of it? So
something I can do. I could stack sand. That's
well, no, you could have told. All of us could have done that. So yeah. So therefore, it doesn't qualify as art. There you go.
Qualify.
Yes. Okay. So this next video, I don't know what this is. Is this a kind of art? You tell me. These are bicycle tires. Oh, how ironic! It connects to the bike we just had there. So just different kinds of bicycle tires here. This is kind of interesting. Wow, look at that, huh? What do you think of these?
That's interesting.
What is happening?
Seems suboptimal.
I don't know if I'd call it art again, but
why? Who's doing this? Like, who says, you know what we need? We need to. Oh dear Lord, we need to do this. I don't know. That doesn't look comfortable at all. That looks stupid. That also looks stupid.
The wheel was one of the greatest inventions humankind has ever come up with. So
when a society is so aimless that we're taking the most efficient things among us and doing this to it, what is?
I kind of want a circular saw bicycle though. I think that would be fun.
That would be, yeah, all right.
It'll get you through the ice in Florida.
I mean, you could turn your man cave where you like to just do woodwork into exercise too.
Oh, okay. I like it. Okay. Should we be concerned about hackers stealing 2.7 billion data records, including social security numbers and addresses?
Probably.
Okay. Just thought I would run that by you guys. Since I'm just an average American, you guys actually have a law enforcement background. That seems like it would be bad.
I'm not, because my security clearance was revoked, and so my earning potential is basically kaput. And anyone who wants to have it, good luck.
Hey, my security clearance has also been revoked now. Finally.
Finally.
Silver lining.
Yeah.
Silver lining in the fact that our social security numbers are completely compromised and on the open market now.
Thanks, America and China and whoever else is involved.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the clock here. I'm going to try to rip through these here. Did you hear about the lady who went to Disney and she had she ordered a meal that was supposed to be free of the stuff that she was allergic to. They said, "Yep, sure, it's good enough to eat. Go ahead and eat it and stuff." And anyway, she ended up dying. She had a fatal allergic reaction, and so the husband is suing for wrongful death since they completely screwed up her meal that killed her. He's asking for all of $50,000. And Disney is saying, nah, we're not going to pay it. Why? Because when the husband signed up for a trial of Disney Plus years ago, in that fine print, the terms and agreement that nobody reads, it says that you can't sue the company.
Interesting.
Isn't that something? You would think the negative publicity Disney's going to get off of this story might affect them more than $50,000 that they could have quietly written a check for and let this go. It's shocking. Like, this is an unbelievable story. I can't even believe this. If it wasn't in the New York Post, I'd be like, all right, what kind of parody website are we on?
So I guess he didn't love his wife very much for 50 grand. And my other takeaway is that Disney must think the Snow White movie is going to absolutely bomb if they're going to quibble over 50 grand.
It will.
Yeah. Did you also see where Kanye West, according to his former chief of staff, claims that a dentist got Kanye West hooked on nitrous gas?
Isn't it supposed to be not addictive?
I guess he likes to laugh. It's the laughing gas stuff.
Well, he does need to laugh more based on what I've seen in recent years, but
I thought
that is a curious case.
Isn't that is a very curious story. Let's see here. Trivia time. The story just came out here of the hottest housing markets in the land from Realtor.com. And there's some interesting cities on here.
I think some cities in my neck of the woods made that list.
Oh, you've seen this?
I think I have, yeah.
Well, let's start at number 20 and work our way up. Cleveland, Ohio. Wow. A lot of people wanting to live there.
Cleveland rocks.
Apparently. That's what I hear. Worcester, is that right? Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
There we go.
Concord,
I wouldn't recommend it. You know, I've lived in Wisconsin most of my life. Not only would I not recommend Green Bay, I wouldn't recommend anywhere in the state.
Okay, well, stand by because
it gets better.
Foreshadowing. Yeah. Concord, New Hampshire, Peoria, Illinois. These are the hottest housing markets in the land. Where the hell's Texas and Florida? Maybe it's just cooled off now. I know it's
We're full.
We're full. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Syracuse, New York. You're right. All of the good places have run their course, and now people are like, crap, I guess I got to go to Syracuse, New York, and Springfield, Massachusetts, Springfield, Illinois, Canton, Ohio, Providence, Rhode Island, Janesville, Wisconsin. Down.
No.
Number
Not
8.
Janesville.
Tell us about Janesville. What's wrong with Janesville?
Janesville is essentially the whiskey tango, the white trash, as it were, capital of this of my state, or at least one of them. There's a lot of them around here.
Okay. Let's see here. Janesville, Wisconsin. Okay, number 8 is Rochester, New York. Number 7, New Haven, Connecticut. Number 6, Monroe, Michigan. Number 5, hottest market in the land, July of 2024, is Akron, Ohio. I'm telling you, I think Florida and Texas are full. And so now it's spillover, and they're like, all right, here we go. Rockford, Illinois. Number 3, Manchester, New Hampshire. Number 2, Hartford, Connecticut. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Holy crap, this list is dumb. The number 1 hottest housing market in all of the United States for July of 2024, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We got 3 Wisconsin towns. Garrett's saying, no, you
don't do it. Here's what I want to know. Who paid this Realtor.com to write this? That's what I want to know. I have a feeling Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin, and people of his ilk were involved, because nobody you. I'm telling you, you don't want to move here. You don't want to move anywhere close to here. You don't want to move to Wisconsin. You don't want to move to Michigan. You don't want to move to Illinois. Definitely not Illinois. You don't want to move to Minnesota. You don't want to move to any of these places. Believe me. And I will say though, Oshkosh, it's not. If you're gonna be here, it's not a bad place to be.
I'd want to live there just so I could say the word Oshkosh all the time. Realtor.com listings in Oshkosh received 3.7 times more views per property in July than the national average. That's just, you know what? That's your governor, right? Just click, refresh. Yeah. With all those eyeballs, properties sit a mere 18 days on the market before getting snapped up by eager buyers, a whopping 32 days fewer than the usual nationwide. You're going to love this quote. This is from a real estate agent up there. We are still getting multiple offers in Oshkosh and even seeing some bidding wars. Everybody wants to be in Oshkosh, Garrett.
Apparently.
It must be you.
I will say this is one thing I don't understand about Wisconsin is the housing market is kind of crazy. And I'm always like, why? Who wants to live here?
The median list price is $374,000 in Oshkosh right now. Wow.
That's pretty high.
Yep. I'm just looking at this list. I guess Cleveland is the low. Nope. Peoria, Illinois, 179,000. Obviously, different size town than say Green Bay's 474,000. Cleveland, the average price is $272,000. Interesting. Very interesting. For a city that size, that's because I had a story just a few weeks ago. Y'all help me remember. What was it? 127 cities in the United States, half are in New York and California, where the average price is over $1 million. So, do I have that right? It was 127 cities where the average price is $1 million, and half of those were in New York and California. I think that was what that story was. Maybe somebody that can remembers. Dear God, I haven't opened any of these bottles, and yet I'm talking as if I have. About to wrap this up here. Okay. We all want to be good parents. We want to help kids fly the straight and narrow. So I want to get your thoughts on this. There was a field trip to a courtroom in Detroit, Michigan. Okay. And Judge Kenneth King is presiding. And he sees this teenage girl on this field trip hanging out in this court, observing everything. And she kept falling asleep. And so he felt disrespected. And as some judges want to do in their courtrooms, he wanted to make an example of her. And he told her, if you fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm going to put you in the jail. Ooh. And he said he didn't like her attitude and he wanted to get through to her. So he threatened her with juvenile detention, and doesn't say in the story that he ever did take her back for booking, if you will. Oh no! Oh wait, I'm sorry. She did. Read the stories, Malinak. See, I thought that she was booked, but then I read here as I'm going through it, and he says he threatened her. But I could have sworn that yeah, she booked it. Yeah, put her in cuffs and in jail clothes. All right, what do y'all think of this?
Why wouldn't you just ask her to leave?
Right. What? Okay. So
this is power. Isn't this the arbitrary and despotic use of power?
Garrett? Exactly. Yes, right.
It's on every freaking level of our society. Exactly.
Yep. And this is where I struggle. You know, like as a former cop, former FBI agent, hell, even as an infantry guy in Iraq and Afghanistan, you're interfacing with people, and that's what it boils down to. Like, it's the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm not saying this juvenile is right for falling asleep in the courtroom, but as the judge, why the F would you care at all?
You've
Like,
just created somebody that is going to hate the system for the rest of their life. Congratulations.
mhm.
And
And
if you
like,
think there's a lack of respect in your courtroom, just wait until she grows up, and then you ain't seen nothing yet.
right. Yeah. And that's what I don't get about quote unquote public servants. Like, are you actually there to serve the public, or are you just there for yourself? And I think Steve and I can speak to that to some degree. I mean, my experience in the FBI is probably the primary one I can point to, where it's like a lot of the people, they aren't there for you. They aren't there for the Constitution. They aren't there for your rights or the law or things that this nation should uphold in very high regard. They're there for themselves because it sounds cool to be an FBI agent or to have the power that they have. It's no different with judges. And I'm not saying they're all that way. I've met some very decent, reasonable judges, but I've also seen and met and heard of judges who are like this judge. And the land of the free. Okay, sure. Go ahead. Keep believing that.
Well said. Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen, your podcast that you do, American Radicals, it's on Rumble. If people haven't already gone over there to sign up and subscribe, then well, what are you people doing? What days of the week do you guys do your show?
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Thursday,
Tuesday and Thursday
Saturday.
is live stream on Rumble at 08:30 Eastern time, and noontime on Saturday on Rumble. Rumble.com/amradpod is where you can find it. Or if you listen to audio, it's on iTunes and all those other platforms there. You can just get the audio if you want, and we drop those at the same time.
That's awesome. So what's on tap for tomorrow's show if people want to tune in?
Well, we're calling it the Ministry of Justice, and that's a Garrett term that he likes to use. I'll let him sort of elaborate.
Yeah, so it's an Orwellian term. So that, in America, our Justice Department is the Department of Justice, but a la George Orwell in 1984, you've had the Ministry of Truth and a couple different ministries that he references in that quote unquote science fiction novel. And so, so I've long been calling the Department of Justice the Ministry of Justice. So we'll dive into some topics as to why it's more Orwellian than American, and things along those lines.
Very well, very well. And Steve, you also do now a weekday morning show. What time is that, and where can people find that?
You can find that on X. My handle is @RealSteveFriend. We stream it there. Jason Nelson is my co-host. You can find it on his as well, @RealJasonNelson. Pretty easy to remember. And that is at 8 o'clock. And we try to put it out at 8 o'clock every morning Eastern, and then retweet it out at 8 o'clock across every single time zone. So if you're an 8 o'clock early morning riser and want to get some content in a lighthearted way, that's sort of what we aim to do. Have talking about the news, but really there's not really normally breaking news at 8 a.m. It's just sort of reacting to the prior day and getting people up to speed if maybe you're offline for a little while.
So, Garrett, have you ever written a book?
No book yet. That's solely Steve's territory still, but maybe someday. I do a little bit of writing. People can, if they want. I mean, man, I feel like we're just throwing so many links and
I know
out there.
It's tough, right?
Like, I get it. People only have so much bandwidth for content, but I do write a little bit on Substack. It's lastline.substack.com if people are interested. I haven't posted anything new in a while, but yeah, the last thing I went through was I fasted actually for 40 days, water only, and I wrote about that. I tried to post something every day.
How did that go? Seriously,
it was great. I never would have guessed that was part of this path, but it was.
You didn't murder anyone during the 40 days?
No, I was, by the end, it was definitely like, okay, I'm glad this is over, but.
Oh my gosh, hold on a second. I'm sorry. You got to help me out here. I want to understand this scenario. So you strictly just drank water for 40 days?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be gross here. This is a serious question. Did you find yourself having to pee as much as the intake of water, or does your body react and go, holy crap, I don't have food, and then are you not peeing as much?
Oh no, I mean I was peeing probably more than usual.
Oh my gosh,
and
really?
yeah,
Because like
lots of pee.
I'm sitting here right now, right, and for the last hour, even though I ate right before we started this thing, for the last hour I've been hungry. For the last half hour I've been hangry, and if I sit here for another half hour, I will kill someone. I cannot imagine going 3 hours without food, much less 40 days. Bless you, man. That's very impressive. And so you said you don't regret it. That was a good thing for you. Huh?
It was great. It was great. I mean, for me, it was kind of rooted in my faith. I'd never
Sure.
done a real fast like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, quite frankly, the longest I'd fasted prior to that was when I got suspended, and that
Oh,
wasn't by choice. It was just because I was kind of like in shock, and I just didn't eat. I wasn't hungry, and that went on a little longer than 2 days, but this time it was intentional. I didn't know how long I was going to be able to do it, but I kind of started out thinking like if I could make it 40 days, that'd be pretty cool. And I just took it a day at a time,
yeah.
and I learned a ton. And honestly, I've learned probably as much or more since that fast ended than I did even during. And I kind of long for that time again. I don't know that I'll do a 40-day fast anytime soon, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe even ever again, but it's definitely something I want to incorporate into my life more.
Because I've considered that, not 40 days, but maybe do it for 3 days or whatever the options were, and I've never done it. I'm not even started it. I can't even imagine going 24 hours. So that's awesome, seriously. So my last question on that is, did you end up losing a lot of weight then during that time, or yeah?
Yeah. I lost. I mean, and that was part of it. Like since I got suspended, I'm sure people can imagine it's not been easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't work out like I used to, and I'm sure my cortisol level is jacked, and not eating great, not making the best decisions that way, and I just got to this point where I was like, you know what, I got to just do something drastic and like focus on my prayer life and just
Good
make
for
a
you,
big
man.
change. And
Yeah.
but yeah, after like day 3 to 5, probably after day 5, it's like, you know what, I'm as hungry as I've been the whole time, and that kind of ebbs and flows for me. It got worse at night, but when I'd wake up in the morning, I wasn't hungry, typically
Wow.
speaking. And yeah, I lost what, I don't know, I don't remember, Steve, something like, what did I lose, 63 pounds,
63
something like
pounds.
yeah. And I gained, I bet you once I started eating again, I gained 10 to 15 pounds back, like right away. And I think part of that was just like my body, like making bile and things of that nature again, where it essentially had ceased functioning the way it had been, because it didn't need to. And these were things I kind of learned after, which I wish I would have looked a little more into that prior. It probably would have made it would have made transitioning out of the fast a little bit easier. But yeah, I gained like 10 to 15 pounds like within the first week after stopping it, and I kind of leveled out there. Now, in fairness, I've gained a little bit more sense, but
here's one more question for you guys, and then I promise to let you go. You referred to being suspended, the FBI, the nightmare there of being patriots, whistleblowers for the truth, in talking about what really is happening over there. Question for you. If Donald Trump were to win in November, put in somebody in the FBI that you would respect, would you try to get back into that, or have you said, no, screw that, I'm never going back to that corrupt agency ever again, I don't care who's in charge?
I don't think I could go back. I mean, I guess the question would be, we are asking you to come back in some sort of leadership capacity to padlock the door and hand out 40,000 pink slips. I might consider that. But I don't think that I don't think I'd be comfortable even going back, because you would be looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would be content with just we'll pay you to leave. We'll pay you out for what your career would have been, and then hopefully somebody else is in a position to be the new director just padlocks the doors.
Yeah, Garrett, are you getting any thought to this possible scenario?
Similar. We have a saying, shatter and scatter, and that would be the only way to go back is if the mandate was, hey, you're an assistant director or whatever other high position, and your mandate is to scale back and eventually shutter the doors of the FBI. And I'm certain, I know for a fact that some of that comes from just the personal experience, but when you look at the history of the FBI, when you look at the current things that they continue to do, when you look at the lying testimony of Christopher Wray or people who had a hand in both Steve and my suspensions, like Jennifer Moore, who is now retired and has a cushy retirement gig and getting her pension, or like an Andy McCabe who got a settlement for doing what I was accused of, leaking to the press. He actually did that and then lied about it, which is a federal crime. He gets his pension. He gets a settlement. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, they get $1 million settlement. I don't know how it can continue in the alleged land of the free. If you really want to be free, you cannot have a modern day secret police like the FBI. Yeah. And I know a lot of people say, "Well, there's a lot of good rank and file people there." Are there though? Are there? Because if you get up every day and you put your gun and your badge on your hip and you say, "I know what the FBI is doing is wrong, but I'm doing the best I can. I see what's wrong, but I'm doing good work over here." That doesn't cut it. That's why people like Steve and I came forward, is because that does not cut it. That does not, you are not truly fulfilling your oath to the Constitution, to the people of this country, if you can just put the blinders on and say, "Well, I know the agency is evil, but I'm not doing evil." It was Dietrich Bonhoeffer who was attributed with saying, what is it, like, silence in the face of evil is evil itself.
Yes.
And so good luck. Enjoy your career. Well, I got a family to feed. I'm getting close to my pension. I'm getting a promotion. I don't care. All right. You made an oath to the Constitution, to this nation, and you're going to put your paycheck and your pension above all that. Screw you. And so when people say, "Well, there are still good people left," where are they? When we testified, at the end of my testimony, I put somewhat of a call out there to other people in the agency. You can come to me, get in contact with me. I'll put you in touch with Congress. I'll put you in touch with my lawyers, or whatever needs to be done for you to start whistleblowing. One person has come forward. One has reached out to the degree to say, "You're right. It's wrong. It's evil. I need to do what you did." One out of a 38,000 person agency. Shatter and scatter.
I got to tell you, as an American, and I see this kind of injustice happening to good people like you and Steve, I get angry, but I'm still just an observer, right? I'm pissed off for you, but I'm not living this nightmare that you guys have had to deal with and continue to deal with, and the ways that it likely affects you guys that I could never understand or wouldn't even occur to me. So God bless you on behalf of myself and my family and all of the good people here joining us, and all the people that I hope you know out there support you guys and appreciate you for doing the right thing. And I'm so sorry that this country and our government has done what it did and continues to do to you and your families. And I really hope and pray that things get better for you and good people like you.
Thank you. And thanks for having us on today, man.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Absolutely, guys. Please check out their show tomorrow morning. Tomorrow. Well, no, I guess tomorrow. So no, on Saturdays it's 12:30 Eastern. See?
12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. I knew.
Dang it.
High noon, but if you miss it, it's on Rumble.
And it's on. It's available on demand. Go and subscribe, and that way you'll never miss it. There, American Radicals podcast. Both of you guys, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for making time, Steve. We'll meet back up here on September 12th when we talk about that history of the FBI that Garrett alluded to there. And everybody, I'll be gone for 2 weeks, so I'll check in when I can. If you missed yesterday's deep dive on 9/11, I hope you'll check that out as well. YouTube.com/@themic. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again.